what the narcissist put you through. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So first of all, I'm wearing sunglasses because it is a very unseasonably warm day here in the Carolinas. It's an absolutely spectacular day. Sun's very bright. I'm not accustomed to it because of the winter time. So I'm wearing sunglasses. And if I look like something from the 60s with the turtleneck and the Wayfarers, well, that's what I look like. Anyway, what the narcissist put you through. What they put you through was a relationship that wasn't what it appeared to be on the exterior. Remember, the narcissist wore a mask. They infiltrated your life. They assimilated themselves with you. They got as close to you as they possibly could. And one of these main things happened. You either had a child with them or children. You married them. You relocated. You went into business. You told them you loved them, or you did some kind of support for them. When you were doing this, you were doing it because you are a kind, loving, stable, healthy person. You were committed in a relationship with another person who turned out to be a predator. Now that person had done this before, so they knew what they were doing. And you may say, well, not really. I've known this person for 30 years and I was the first person they ever targeted. That's your experience. That's what you believe because you are you. You don't know where they were. I'm talking about the narcissist. You don't know where they were when they weren't with you. You don't know what they were doing or who they were talking to when they were in the bathroom for 30 minutes when it should have taken them only about 3 or 4 minutes. You don't know where they were when they told you they went away on a business trip for a weekend and they lost cell phone service or they couldn't have reception, whatever it was. See, you'll never know the truth. And that's one of the things that these people keep from everybody, including themselves. They're always running from the truth. They're always hiding in the shadows. They're lurking under rocks. They're creeping around corners. They're spying on people. The person you're considering is dark energy. Now, why I use that term, and I've used it over the years, is because we've all heard an awful lot about the narcissism word and a lot about psychopaths and sociopaths and all these things. I get it. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I'm a very intelligent human being with the wisdom that I've acquired over years of research, including me being in the narcissistic abusive cycle in a place where I was trapped and didn't even know existed. I made it out. My hope is that you are making it out or you will make it out. But as the thumbnail mentioned, what the narcissist put you through, they put you through the ringer day in and day out. Let's take a side example for a moment. Say that you maintained a 9-to-5 job when you were in the relationship. When you went to work, you could not focus on doing your job to the level that you were accustomed to focusing because you were always thinking about who that person was, where they were, what they were doing, when your phone would be blown up, when it would be disrupted, what kind of peanut butter you would have to buy on the way home, why they always called you 3 minutes before your weekly meeting at Friday at 12 o'clock, between 12 and 2 you had a weekly meeting, but they always called you at 11:57 a.m. and how they were trying to live in your mind rent-free. You didn't know any of these things. You were not taught them in school. So what you were doing was being an open book. What you were doing was being yourself, and you were uneducated and naive on the narcissistic abusive cycle. You didn't realize that another person that perhaps you fell in love with or loved or cared about or entered a business relationship with, whatever it was, or roommate, maybe it was a roommate, you didn't realize that they knew what they were doing and they were slowly pulling you through the ringer. And this is one of the things they put you through. Think about how much money you spent when you were in that relationship. You spent more money than you even had. And you may say, well, how is that possible? Very simple. Think about it. What is a credit card? That's right. You probably had a mountain of credit card debt like yours truly when you didn't have credit card debt at all in the past. But what happened? You took out credit, or you used credit cards, or you applied for credit cards, or you wanted to get your credit limit increased, or whatever you did to borrow money or to use a credit card to supply a lifestyle for whom? That's right, this toxic person you're considering. That's one more example of what they put you through. That's called financial abuse, any way you cut it. Financial abuse is becoming more and more prevalent on the planet, not the action itself. That's always been around. I'm saying the term. That perhaps maybe that'll be the term of 2026. I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is when you are experiencing financial abuse and you are working for the person who's abusing you and you're trying to keep the peace in the household and your credit card bills getting racked up day and day and day out and day in, and let's say your credit card limit was $5,000 and all of a sudden there's 15 grand of charges on it and you didn't spend one penny of those, the narcissist did, or maybe you did because you're behind in the mortgage and you had to put the mortgage on the, whatever you did, and the narcissist is sitting back in the corner saying, well, what are you going to get me for dinner? Last night we had lobster. Tonight I expect filet mignon, and I want to make sure I get the side dishes that I haven't had since 2 days ago. You see, no good deed goes unpunished when you're with the narcissist, and they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they had done to you. And what they put you through was a relationship from hell. I don't say that lightly. I did say it in a couple of videos over the last week or two because we were in the holiday Hoover season. Remember one thing, the holidays are essentially over for a lot of people. I know there's still holidays approaching, and maybe you're in the holiday season right now, but many of the main holidays in the US are over. It doesn't mean you shouldn't still maintain your boundaries and get off the radar of the narcissist and become unhooverable. You need to bring your A game every single day like I do. You need to understand that where you were is not where you want to be ever again, and you won't be if you maintain your boundaries. And if you maintain no contact and you understand what they put you through was a life-threatening, debilitating, challenging, taxing relationship, and they knew it. The narcissist has no love within them. They have no empathy. They don't care about one person other than themselves. Not one person. You thought they cared about you. You maybe even thought that they loved you because perhaps they batted their eyelashes at you or showed you the rosy cheeks, or maybe you had a moment of intimacy, whatever it was. Maybe it was sex, or maybe it was just you got stuck in a snowstorm or something and it was really close, meaning you shared a moment and you thought, wow, we're really bonding. This is incredible. This person, they really do care about me. Well, that's all smoke and mirrors. That's a facade. That's a house of cards built on quicksand. Again, you didn't know this. Now you do know it. So now you understand what they put you through. No human being on earth should ever be put through that. There are a couple different types of abuse I'll talk about real quick, or let's say challenging positions to be in. And I'll preface it by saying this. Years ago, I created a video called This One's For You, Uncle Tom. I created that video in 2021. And what that video meant to me, it means the exact same thing today as it meant back then. You see, I had an uncle, his name was Uncle Tom, and he was in the war years ago, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And he came back and he was a shell of himself. But he knew going into that war that A, he was going to serve his country, and B, that there was an enemy. Well, I'm fast forwarding through that part because I didn't go through a war on the battlefield like he did, but I went through a different war, and so did you. Having said that, when you're in a war like my Uncle Tom was years ago, he knew who the enemy was, and he had instructions on how to do whatever he had to do, whatever his role was, and I don't know what he did. But I do know he came back and he was not the person he used to be, and I talked about that a lot in depth in the video, This One's For You, Uncle Tom. But fast forward to you. You were in a war for your life on a battlefield with one other person, with all these other flying monkeys, enablers, and toxic people swarming all around you, taking stabs at you, taking digs at you, shooting things at you, and trying to destroy you and your life. But you didn't know that you were on a battlefield. The narcissist did. They lined you up, they set you up, and they were getting ready to knock you down. This is what they did, and this is what they always do. So, as I shared with you a moment ago, my Uncle Tom, he was in a battle of a war. I get that. I understand the whole thing. I wasn't there, and I wouldn't want to be there. Whoever served in the military, you are very brave, and thank you sincerely for being part of the military, for whatever cause it is, or for whatever country it is, because you're brave people. But those of us who were in the narcissistic abusive cycle, we didn't sign up for something like that. Yet the war was within our minds. The war was within our house. The war was every time we got a text or a phone call. The war was every time we were triangulated. The war was every time we were being hung up on or walked in front of by 30 feet. The war was every time that the person that perhaps we married took their wedding ring off and claimed that they lost it again. The war was every time when they would say, oh yeah, I'll be home at Friday at 6 o'clock at night, and they didn't show up till Friday at midnight, and they were not, let's say, in the proper state of mind, and they were acting like that was your fault that you didn't say 6 o'clock, or they were saying that they were stuck in a business meeting, but they smelled like, let's say, alcohol and maybe a different cologne or perfume, and maybe they had lipstick on their shirt or blouse, whatever it was. You see what I'm saying? These people don't care about anybody but themselves. They want to punish people for being themselves. So this is why when you are in the deep end of destruction, when you're in the narcissistic fog, and even when you're caught up in the trauma bond and you are supplying information, resources, supply, money, time, energy, love, empathy, and everything that you had to your abuser, you are in a no-win situation. You could never win when you're in that situation or that relationship, which is why in virtually every video I've created over the years, I suggest to go no contact. Get as far away from that person as fast as you can. Block them, delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys. and people associated with them, because these people you're considering, they don't change. They only deteriorate over time. You are changing, you're elevating, you're ascending. You've now been in the cycle. You were in a war zone you didn't even know existed. So what the narcissist put you through, think about it. I'll go back to the beginning when I shared with you when you were at work, a 9-to-5 job. When you were on your way to work, I can assure you, you probably were taking the same roads that you usually took to go to work, but you weren't focused on driving. It was probably muscle memory, or you knew to take a left here or right here. What you were doing is trying to piece together what had just happened over the weekend. What you were doing is just trying to piece together how to put gas in your car. What you were doing was trying to piece together how to scrape up $8, $9, $10 to buy lunch. What you were trying to figure out is how you're going to pay the mortgage or the rent in 3 days when it's due, when your credit card is over the limit and you've borrowed all the money you possibly can from family members. What you were doing is trying to figure out what shoe was going to drop next when you got home that night. What you were going to do is try and figure out when you would be texted, perhaps that day, or maybe that night the narcissist would tell you that they want to go away on a weekend to go visit somebody that you've never heard of, another strange person these people communicate with, but they wanted you to go with them. Why would they want you to go with them? It's not that they wanted you to be there. Maybe they did. Maybe they wanted to triangulate you. It's they wanted you to pay for it and to be the chauffeur and to be the unpaid helper and to be the person who would stay stuck on that invisible tether doing things for them. See where I'm going with this? It all goes down to one thing. This person you're considering, they knew what they had put you through. Now, are they ever going to tell you that? No. They're going to blame you, and they're going to say, you didn't have to stay in the relationship. I never told you I loved you. I never told you you had to do this. You didn't have to do this for me. Well, that's not reality. What reality is, remember what I shared earlier. They were wearing a mask. They were assimilating themselves with you. They were glomming onto you. They were trying to figure out everything about you, your hopes, dreams, aspirations, hobbies, your relationships, your money, your purpose, everything about you. Once they figured out which buttons to press, then they placed you on that chessboard of abuse with another 20 people they were abusing, some short-term, some longer-term. Some were brothers or sisters, some were their kids, some were their parents, some were ex-romantic relationships, some were business partners, some were clients, some were people who provided resources for their business, whatever it was. But you were one person, and you're the person I care about because you made it this far in the video, and you're one of the wise ones who cracked the code, and you figured out what narcissism is. But what they put you through, no human being should have to go through that for a minute, let alone a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, 30 years, or a lifetime. This is why you didn't know what you know now. This is why this is one of the great secrets of humanity, that abuse has two legs. It walks like you and it talks like you. Abuse isn't only just somebody yelling at somebody or throwing a rage fit or dropping some curse words. That is abuse. That's verbal abuse. But abuse goes so much deeper than that. And by the way, verbal abuse should not be tolerated. That needs to be brought to the forefront sooner than later. Because if anyone is screaming at somebody an inch away from their face, or anyone's F-bombing another person, or anyone's being belligerent or putting them down and telling them they won't amount to anything, or you'll never succeed at anything, that's verbal abuse, and that's not good. You, if you experienced that, and I certainly did, you need to remember one thing, and please play this part of the video and play it multiple times. If somebody was abusing you in the past, that's coming from a place of weakness. That's coming from, they're talking about themselves. They are not talking about you. They're trying to have you doubt yourself, because that's how they feel about themselves. In other words, projection. Now, I'm not going to put the doctor hat on. What I'm going to tell you is, when you can read the tea leaves properly, and you really zoom out and you understand that you're cut from a different cloth than anybody you've ever encountered, and the narcissist knew that, which is why you are the best source of supply they will ever find, which is why you are the best thing they will ever be a part of, and they are no longer a part of you, and you certainly are no longer a part of them. But when you realize that, then you can see how humanity works, and you can be, let's say, in a coffee shop getting a coffee, or in a grocery store, or attending an event, or whatever you're doing. You can listen to people. You don't even have to see them many times. You can just hear the communications and the conversations, and you can say, wow, that person has really been through something. Or that person, maybe they're toxic. Or that person is really naive. Or that person's about to get married, and they don't realize that they already broke up with their partner 6 different times over the last 2 years, and this is not going to end well for them. Now, you may say, well, with that last example, how would you know that, Andrew? Well, think about it. Just in very basic human terms, if a couple broke up 6 different times before they're going to get married, what do you think the chances are of that marriage actually lasting? You may say 100%. Maybe that's your life. And if it is, fantastic. But I would take the other side, because the divorce rate these days is upwards of 52%, probably higher all over the globe. And if a couple has broken up 6 times before the wedding has taken place, the likelihood of that probably goes up a lot higher than 52%. But getting back on track, what the narcissists put you through, they put you through the worst relationship that you had ever been a part of, but they sold it to you as if it would be the best relationship you would ever experience. Once the narcissist gets what they want, they begin to feed off of it. They begin to take little bite-sized pieces of that person every way possible, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually. And you may say, physically, well, they didn't bite me. Well, I wasn't. Actually, I was. But point being is, when I say physically, I'm saying the tears you cried, or the emotions you felt, or when you got ill, were they there for you? See, everything's connected. Just like I'm connected with you and you're connected with myself, you are also connected with this beautiful Carolina lush greenery, and I'm connected wherever you are on the planet, which is why you need to understand that getting as fast away from these people and as far away from them as possible will serve you, because you are in the worst relationship known to humankind, and very few people will ever understand that it was that bad. These people are the people that I call are existing or living in the everyday fog. I too was living in the everyday fog for most of my life. What that means, and again, many people can't even understand this, what I'm sharing with you, but I'll share it again. The everyday fog is when a person is oblivious to reality. They're just living their life because they're doing what the Joneses do. They have the same car, they go to vacation in the same spot, they drink coffee out of the same mug, they buy the same clothes, they do the same things over and over and over again. But they never become awakened or aware or educated or empowered, because they didn't go through the narcissistic abusive cycle. And my hope is those people don't go through it. Truth be told, I wish I didn't go through it, but I did, and that's why I paid forward and create videos each and every day. And once you get the wisdom and you understand that there's a reason you went through it, even though you didn't want to go through it, and I didn't want you to go through it, then you'll realize, yeah, there is a much higher purpose for you, just like there is for me. And so this is why the video, I'll end it in a moment. This is why when you actually understand how challenging of a relationship that was that you were part of, every single second you were in it, whether you were sleeping next to the narcissist, whether they were downstairs in the kitchen, whether you were at work, whether they were on a seminar, whether you were on vacation, whether it was your birthday, whether it was the narcissist's birthday month, no matter what it was, you were being abused. Now, you may say again, well, not really. We had a great couple months there for a while, or the first year was the most incredible year of my entire life. Well, welcome to the love bomb stage, people. It's not sustainable, it's completely fake, it's plastic, and the narcissists knew that because they tried to get their 2 dirty fangs sunken into you, and truth be told, it worked. It always will work until when? It's right, until it doesn't, which is when you get the wisdom and go no contact. So before I close the video, I'll share this. What the narcissist put you through, they knew what they were doing. What the narcissist took from you, they knew what they were taking. What the narcissist did, however they ended it, they knew it would end. And what the narcissist also knew is that what they thought, not they knew, what they thought was that you would never put yourself back together. You would never figure out who they were or what they did. You would never, ever get to the point of understanding what narcissism is. And you would stay stuck pining for them for the rest of your life, as so many other people had, or missing what you never had. This is why you're different. This is why you're cut from a different cloth, because you've either healed or you are healing, and you realize that that ship that you're on was a sinking ship, and that relationship was an irreparable relationship, and that part of your life, it's over, and that chapter of that book needs to be closed on the narcissist, which means you need to maintain your boundaries. You need to stay in the high vibrational state, and you need to understand that where you were is not where you are ever going again. Not only with the narcissist you're considering, I'm referring to dark energy everywhere. Don't give it a chance. Don't give it the time of day. Utilize gray rock, become dull, become boring, don't overshare information, and above all, understand that not everybody is who they appear to be on this planet, and at the top of that list is the narcissist. Remember, they infiltrated your life insidiously, they crept into it. However they did it, they did it. Now that you understand how these people work and that they're everywhere, and that's not doom and gloom, it's reality, then you need to realize that, yeah, you have something that a lot of people want a chunk of. A lot of people want what you have. And what is that? That's right. It's the beautiful, bright, shining light within you. It's within me and it's within you. People want that. And you can't fake it. You can't replicate it. You can't copy it. Either you have it or you don't. And when you have it, you need to keep it. That's what the narcissist doesn't have. All they have is that low vibrational energy stuck in the quagmire, low vibrational state. That's where they try to steal your energy, your abundance, your purpose, and everything about you. And they almost accomplished it by knocking you out, but they didn't. They failed, and they failed miserably, which is why you need to understand, don't tempt fate, go no contact today. If not now, when? So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I'm giving you a smile now because I can't see as well because of my detached retina. But I know one thing. This video, the color, the look, everything, it is absolutely spectacular because it is a vibrant day here, almost 70 in the Carolina woods, and it's the middle of winter. So that's why I came out, and I was shocked when I realized I didn't have to wear a winter jacket. And yes, I did get a haircut, and yes, I'm wearing the Wayfarers, and yeah, I'm wearing a turtleneck, and yeah, I kind of feel like I'm in the 60s or 70s, one of those old shows I used to watch, but that's not where I am. I'm in 2026 with you, and I'm paying it forward, and I've made it out. If I made it out, you can make it out. You need to believe in yourself the way I believe in you, because at one point I was where you are or where you were, but now I am here, and I'm creating content to pay it forward to help those people out who don't even know that they need help. So understand one thing, what the narcissist put you through, very few people will ever be able to wrap their head around it. Very few people will ever give it the amount of credit it deserves, which means how toxic that relationship was. Those of us who have been in the cycle and been trapped, we know what it's like, which is why I can finish your sentence in a second. And you can probably finish my sentence if you've healed. But everyone else, they're not going to get it. They're going to think, oh, it's not such a big deal. Just move on. And who cares? What's a big deal? And I have a beautiful ladybug on my arm right now. This is amazing. So understand something. You're changing, you're evolving, you're growing. And you are the beautiful, bright, shining light. This is you. Keep your light shining brighter than the sun, the moon, and the stars, and everything in between. Don't let anybody toxic ever get close to you again. And I'm talking physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all. Trust your instincts and trust your intuition. That is the path. Begin now. If not now, when? I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. It is so beautiful.